change U.S. policy on torture?
Un website que podemos verlo.
This is the 7th anniversary of Guantanamo Bay. We're here demanding that Guantanamo shut down, and not just Guantanamo, but all the U.S. torture facilities.
Down Guantanamo, there's still the question of, are people going to have a right to an attorney? Are people going to have habeas corpus? Are people going to have some basic rights that have been taken away by the Military Commissions Act, the Patriot Act, and this whole framework of the War on Terror?
You have been tortured in the name of the safety of American people. There is no war on terror. This is a war of terror, and it's being perpetrated by the biggest terrorists in the world, the U.S. government. They are torturing people. They are carrying out secret renditions where people are swept up and transported in the dead of night to countries that are known to torture.
Rewards right here, bounty! United States CIA paying bounty for any information of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. U.S. dollars! U.S. dollars!
One former CIA officer said he took a suitcase of $3 million in cash into Afghanistan himself to help supply and win over warlords to fight for U.S. Special Forces. Some $57 million has been paid under the U.S. Rewards for Justice program, but the testimonies offering the most detail come from the prisoners themselves. Quote, "It's obvious they knew Americans were looking for Arabs, so they captured Arabs and sold them, just like someone catches a fish and sells it."
What are you guys doing to me? What are you guys doing?
You're in detention now.
You might be entertained for it. What am I doing?
Just shut the hell up.
Promised the big prize to those who turned in Al-Qaeda fighters. One leaflet said, "You can receive millions of American dollars. This is enough to take care of your family, your village, your tribe for the rest of your life. Pay for livestock and doctors and school books and housing for all your people." End quote. Helicopters broadcast similar announcements over the Afghan mountains, enticing people to hand over the Arabs and feed your families for a lifetime.
You're in detention.
We didn't do anything. Let her go.
What?
Let her go.
Cindy Sheehan and a few other people are going to be here soon.
Let her go.
Let him go! Let him go!
Let him go.
Put this on.
Bush, Obama, stop the torture now.
I've done nothing!
You put it on.
Nothing! What are you guys doing?
Bush, Obama,
What are you guys doing?
stop the torture now. Shut down Guantanamo. Stop the torture now.
Why were you in Tehran?
Guantanamo. Stop the torture now.
No answers
Shut
here.
down Guantanamo.
Put
Stop
on
the
the board.
torture now.
Hand it down.
Shut down Guantanamo. Stop the torture
Go!
now. Shut down Guantanamo. Stop the torture now.
guys doing
Shut down Guantanamo. Stop the torture now.
I have done nothing! I have done nothing! I have done
He doesn't
nothing!
know anything. Let him
I have
go.
done nothing!
You want to know why you were talking to that person in Tehran?
I've never been to Tehran! Never! I know nothing!
You can watch this and see what you think for yourself. A person who's waterboarded
All right.
is under applause.
You answer my questions.
Let him go. Stop.
Go!
Doesn't know anything. Let him go.
Water into your
Nothing!
You will answer our questions.
Stop.
I know nothing is not an answer.
Stop this!
Answer.
It's just to give you! This is sick! This is inhuman! Stop this!
Doesn't know anything.
Stop this!
Answer our questions. Why did you talk to Saeed in Iran? Why were you there? Hey! Answer the question! What's the matter with you? When I ask you a question, you answer! Alright, he's uncooperative. Let's do it again.
That's violence! No torture! Let him go!
Oh, he's out. Roll him over.
That's what I'm saying, they're not doing that.
Let's go. Take a break. We'll come back a little later. We used
Stop the torture now!
a protective mask to keep water from going into his lungs. He's not hurt. If we hadn't used this mask, his lungs would have filled with water. He could have possibly drowned. This is not something to try at home. We did not waterboard this individual. He was protected. This is not something to play with. Waterboarding is not simulated drowning. It's controlled drowning. Victims often die. This is not a game.
I'd like to introduce a young friend who has something to say. I just spoke to a private officer from the U.S. Army describing waterboarding. It's not just asphyxiation and terror that the victim goes through. They actually crack and break their own ribs trying to get out. They have their ribs broken trying to resist the torture. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been a therapist with torture survivors for 19 years. I've started 2 torture treatment centers in this Bay Area and a 3rd center right here in the flood building, which is a legal center to track torturers who come into the country. They come in as refugees, they come in with false papers, they come in with papers they've taken off of bodies in the field. They're here. In terms of the numbers of tortured survivors in the country, Congress itself has estimated 500,000 at any given moment. That's due to not only foreign countries doing their own torture, but complicity of the United States in some of those countries. That's very well known. It's not a problem to understand that. The problem is what to do about the torturers. We have 2 bunches now. When I started this work, we had refugee torturers coming in. Now we have people from the United States government itself. There's a question that keeps being repeated: is waterboarding torture? Torture is defined in the street. It's defined where you are. It's not defined by lawyers. It's not defined by clinicians like me. It's not defined even by the people who write the dictionaries. They have to go into the street to find out how the word's used. It's used here. If you know what it is, keep up the work that you're doing. You want to look at waterboarding itself, it's a form of asphyxiation. The pillow over the head, the plastic bag tied around the neck, parenting, it's all torture. They know it very well. Public pressure is important now because we can't count only on the lawyers, few and far between of them, to handle the job, and we can't count on the politicians whose commitment we know only partly. So keep the pressure up. This is very good.
I've talked to people who have been tortured in Guantanamo Bay. What our country is doing in